your eyes.
You can open it now.
we wanted to get in on the fun glasses.
Let me, can I take a picture? Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Wait. Okay. Okay. If I knew what I was doing. There we go. Oh my gosh, that's adorable.
We wanted to get in on the fun glasses.
Oh, thank you. Was that your idea, Peyton?
It was mine. But he went and got those cool glasses.
Yeah.
That's mentioned it's from that vacation Bible school that I went to a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the glasses from there?
Yeah. Yep. With the bandana that he was wearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, everybody, this is my dear friend, Karen Conway. And of course, this is me and Peyton. And welcome to Cup of Awesomism podcast. We are so excited everybody's here. We have so much to talk about today. And go grab your cup of coffee. I always do this wrong. See mine? See, somebody made me a special turning autism into awesomism.
Oh, with the candy cane in it.
Yeah, I put candy canes in my coffee. Isn't that not crazy? I love peppermint.
Oh, like peppermint? Yeah, it'd be good.
So today we're going to talk about lots of awesome things, but our primary discussion is going to be about Team Awesomism and how it's going to help autistic adults, how me and Miss Karen met, and chalk couture, because we love chalk couture. And honestly, we believe chalk couture can be a game changer for autistic adults all around the country. And we want to really set a template, so to speak, for other autistic adults to kind of follow and be able to start their own businesses and do things with the chalk couture. We're going to talk about this in our next hour, and we're so glad you're all here to listen to us. So Karen, you get to go ahead and introduce yourself and talk about yourself.
Oh, that could go on for days. I am Karen Conway, and I am a real estate agent by day, well, sometimes night. And I also am a chalk couture master mentor with chalk couture. I am 56 and I'm married to an adorable man. We have 4 dogs and a cat. And what else? I have 2 sons. Chase is 33. Landon will be 32 in just like 12 days. I grew up in a little town called Chehalis, Washington, and then moved here to Spokane. I live in Spokane, Washington, and I moved here. I think we're going on our 24th year here.
Oh,
so
wow.
I've almost lived here longer than I have growing up in the other. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. I'm not originally from Spokane. It's a little town called Chehalis, Washington. It's near our state capital. It's 20 minutes south of our state capital, Olympia.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, nice. Yeah, so you're in the cold country.
So in Spokane, because Seattle is rain and then you'll get a blip of sun, but Spokane has 4 seasons. So we have snow on the ground right now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Peyton, it's so funny. When we lived in Northern Virginia, Peyton, I hate snow. And one of the years we lived there, that's when they had that massive, remember when Washington, D.C. was basically shut down for a couple of weeks because we had over 3 feet of snow.
Yeah, I remember that.
What year was that?
What was that, about 12 years ago?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, about 12, 13 years ago. And everybody was basically stranded in their homes because they were not prepared for that. Yeah. And so anybody who had the big SUVs had to go and try to plow out to help the neighbors get out.
Oh my.
Yeah, and we lived in a neighborhood that we were kind of off the beaten path. You know, I loved it. It was an old farm that they turned into a really awesome neighborhood, but we weren't plowed. And bless the plow drivers because they were not ready for this. I mean, this isn't like Chicago, Detroit, where, all the snow comes, they're used to it. Mm-hmm. So we got stranded in, and Peyton, oh, I hate snow. I don't ever want snow again. And then we come down here and he's like, I want snow.
Houston hardly gets any snow.
Yeah, so we got snow, what was that, a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was.
Peyton couldn't be more excited. Look at the snow, the snow. I said, Peyton, when we lived in Virginia, you didn't want snow.
Grass is always greener on the other side, right? Until you have.
Yes. Yes. I do like it though. One thing I do like about Houston, I did live in Orlando. I raised my other kids in Orlando. And the one thing that I like better here is we do get more of a winter. Like we didn't get as much winter in Orlando as we get here. We, you know, like next week, we're going to be down in the 30s. So it's kind of nice. And it's really good for me with severe allergies because it kind of kills off everything. So I'm not year round, you know, but so you and I met through Instagram.
Yes, it does work. That's, yeah. It's the coolest story. Do you want to tell it or do you want me to tell it?
You tell it better than me.
Well, so Lynn was just commenting on complimenting, I should say, on all my stuff with Chakatur. And we just got to talking through, I guess they call it DM on direct message on Instagram. I'm not up with all those DM, PM, whatever. I'm too old, but Peyton would probably know them all. And so she just asked me a couple of questions about Chakatur and if I owned the company, which I thought was so darling. No, I do not. I don't know that I could handle that. And we just got to talking, and she never really revealed her life, and I never really revealed my life, like what we went through as children and what we were exposed to, and then our children, and then her name really never even clicked with me for the autism. And I really don't have a lot of that in my life, you know, really, I don't. And so, but I guess I knew I needed it, or maybe Jesus knew I needed that in my life. And as I'm going to cry.
Oh, I know. That's okay. I already planned on crying.
As soon as she spoke of what her life was like and what it was about, and she would send me pictures of Peyton, and then Peyton and I became friends on Instagram, and then I was watching him, and it was a world that I had no clue about, but I had been exposed to it hugely by this family. And so I wanted to do something. I just wanted to do something. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no clue what I was going to do. So Lynn and I were discussing, just chitty-chatting about Chakatur. And she just one day, I just said, hey, Lynn, would you like to become a designer? I never asked her before. And she said, yes, I would. But there were some situations that they were facing through COVID and just a lot of stuff like everybody else is. And I just offered her something that I really don't offer a lot. And she said, absolutely, I'm in. And so it's just grown from there. So one of the stories I'm going to tell, if it's okay to tell, is about Big Lloyd and his family.
Absolutely.
And I never have met Big Lloyd or his mom. But Lynn was, again, we started talking on the phone because I guess we weren't getting enough of each other through DMing, and we exchanged phone numbers. And I believe Lynn's the first one that called me, and when we talk, you guys, we talk for we say we only have a couple minutes, but then really it's 3 and 4 hours late. Well, it's never 4, but it's like 3 hours later. And we're like, oh, I should have cooked dinner, or, so we just keep talking. So she grew to know my life, and I grew to know hers, and I grew to know her family, all of her children and her husband. And just, I've never personally met them, but now I see their beautiful faces on Zoom here, but she got to talking to me about Big Lloyd and just his needs and what was really important to Lynn and Peyton and what they really are striving to do with this amazing platform. I should say phenomenal platform, really. And that really truly that Peyton is even involved in it, because he doesn't have to be. And he's such an advocate. Oh my gosh. Okay. He's such an advocate. And if you would want someone to be the president of a program like this, you would choose Peyton as the president, and you would keep him in office the whole time for the rest of his life, because he knows he is this. And so, I mean, he is the poster man for this program. So I started talking about Big Lloyd with Lynn, and she told me his story. And his story was, and Lynn, step in if I mess up, but a tree fell on their house. He was on the phone with Lynn, and they lost their home. And so it's just him and his mom that live together. He does have siblings and family, but really he solely relies on his mom. He's an autistic, blind in both eyes.
No, blind in one eye.
Blind in one eye, young man. And I actually got to, we're friends on Instagram now too, but I actually got to converse with him once face to face. Through social media, I should say. So I said to Lynn, I'm so about auctions, and like silent auctions are the best because you don't know who's bidding ahead of you because they give you a special number, right? And then you get this challenge. If you get this, that's great, but this is what I do. Like I'm hunting people down to see what numbers they have, because if that want that, I'm gosh darn gonna get it, right? And so, because I love stuff, as you can see in my house. So anyway, I said, we can have an auction for Big Lloyd. I have so much chocolate tour stuff. Every single dollar will go to Lloyd. And we can try to raise enough funds to put a down payment on some property, whatever they need. They can use it for whatever they need. And Lynn's crying and she's like, you will do that? And I said, yes. And I am a person that says, when I'm going to do something, I will do it. I will do it. And so somehow it just happened so quick. Like we picked a day on the phone. It's going to be a week from Saturday. Can you tell Big Lloyd? Big Lloyd started advertising. Peyton advertised. Lynn advertised. We all advertised through social media. And we had so many people on that auction. And I would just hold up an item, sort of like the Rise Up or the sign that Peyton just made for the families, new babies, and people would just bid on them, and then whatever the highest bid got it. And then I shipped all this stuff out, and we ended up with $3,200 to gift to Big Lloyd, so him and his mom could figure out what their living situation would be. And Lynn, go ahead and take it from here, because I'm not quite sure. I mean, I know what happened, but I think I'm gonna ruin the story.
Yeah, so we found a group, a church group, that said that they would put 10 down if we did 5. And we had the 32, and a friend of my husband's, and I haven't gotten his permission to use his name, so I won't, who had just been laid off from his career due to COVID, okay? He gave $1,500 because we worked so hard on this because of your silent auction. He was so touched by that. And then we had started, Lloyd and I had started a GoFundMe, and we'd only gotten 200, so we ended up with 5,000 total. And the church stepped up with 10, and I'm happy to say that they now are getting a brand spanking new mobile home, because the mobile home company worked with us. And it is now going to be going on their property very soon. And this family is not only going to be able to live in a all brand new appliances, brand new flooring, everything, but his other brother is going to be able to live with them now. So that's even more, yes, because it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, indoor laundry. Yes.
How great does that sound?
Isn't that awesome?
Oh, thank you, Jesus. That is so beautiful.
Isn't it?
For me, if the calling is on your heart everyone has a place that they probably give to, but if it's a calling on your heart to stick with a certain section of giving, maybe you give to the church, or maybe you give to, who knows, right? People, right. But I've always been searching, and I give a lot, because I'm blessed, but I've honed in on, because I knew that I was supposed to do something. I knew. And oh, that is so cool to hear. That is
It
so
is.
cool to hear.
It's so beautiful because it's a scenario where literally we changed a life. We changed 3 lives. We did. And, you know, Lloyd is not only blind in one eye, he's deaf in one ear. And he was born blind in both eyes. And they did surgery and he can see out of the one eye, but not 100%. And, you know, it meant more to him and his mom and his brother that, quote, strangers showed this much compassion and love. And when we were doing this chalk couture, okay, now I'm going to cry. When we were doing this chalk couture auction, the chalk couture community that came forward and the autism community, because my community jumped in and bought, touched me in a way. And I thought, I just, you know, and I've told you this and I stand by this. One of the reasons why I would always compliment your little videos and all the things that you would put out with chalk couture was, I have GAD, general anxiety disorder, and I'm very open about that. I was an adult. I already had Peyton before I was ever diagnosed with it. And it was really bad. I mean, my anxiety was to I couldn't function level. Oh. And when I was diagnosed with it, one of the things that my therapist said to me was, make sure you find your happy place. And she said, it may not be one place. You may have to find it in little everyday things. In your videos from chalk couture were a happy place for me because they were calming and they produce something, and they produce something pretty, and it was something that so many people could do, and you could hang it on your wall, and it just was calming for me. And sometimes and Instagram doesn't show you how many times somebody keeps going back to your particular story. But I would watch that story over and over and over sometimes because, you know, my husband was out on a rig working 90 hours a week. It was stressing me out. You know, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that's Peyton's stepdad. And this man has stepped up to the plate. You know, I made the comment on Twitter one day that when most men run from taking care of an autistic child, my husband ran to taking care of an autistic child. And he did. I mean, I tell this story all the time, and it's a true story. Peyton was in a bowling league, and they knew that one of us was the step parent. And somebody came up to me and said, I just want to tell you, you're such a nice stepmom. And I said, I'm actually the mom. Mark is the step parent because they thought he was Mark's because of their bond. You know, Mark and I have only been together a little over 8 years, and Peyton's 21. That's how close those two are.
Oh, Peyton.
And, you know, and I was so stressed, and I found this happiness in chalk couture. And then when you offered me to get in it and I started realizing how much I loved it, he started really loving it. He would come and watch me. And, you know, and my oldest son, this is so funny because I was telling my oldest son about it and he was here and it's like, yeah, okay, mom. Cause you know, he's kind of like, here we go again, you know, like, you know, I used to buy all these craft things and I do like 2, right? You know, I mean, I'm going to do it now, you know, and I never do it. Right. And so he's like, yeah, okay, mom. So Peyton's making one and I come in by him. And so Paul, my oldest, comes in and he goes, what are you guys doing? And we go chalk couture. And he's like, that's so cool. What is this? I'm like, now you want to care. So we start showing him and he's like, wow. I'm like, and then he saw some of the things he started to make and he's like, this is amazing. Yeah. And I just want to share this story about chalk couture because this is one of the things that touched my heart. Peyton, can you get that tree picture? Uh-huh. Peyton made this. And I just thought it was so beautiful. And I put it on the chalk couture private Facebook group. Here, it's this one.
Oh, yes. I wondered, I had asked, I don't even know this, but Peyton knows how to do this. He shaded it and you'll have to tell him how he did it. But I was like, how did he do that?
I know. I know. And I mean, the one that my friend Michael bought that we just sent to him with the 2 deer, right? I come in there and Peyton has like done all these different colors in the tree. So the tree looks like it's moving. I'm like, I went to art school. How are you doing this? It was so awesome. But so I put that on the private Facebook group for the caricature. At last look, it had almost 1,000 yes from the caricature group. And I know I would sit and read this for the last few days in tears. People were on there. Saying things like, I don't know him, but I'm so proud of him. Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. Please tell him I'm so proud of him. Oh my goodness, this is. And I said to my husband, there are people in my life who I've known for years that are nowhere near as complimentary to this child as this caricature group is. And I said to my husband, there's something very special about this. And what was so beautiful to me is I started getting private messages from people saying, I have friends who have autistic kids. Do you mind if I share your story? Or can they reach out to you about this? I'm like, bring them on, the more the better. I know. So like, I am so in love with caricature because it is, I always see these things and people, oh, yay, rah, rah, rah. And I'm not going to mention names of some of these other groups, but caricature walks it. I mean, I don't use Facebook much. And I'm like, why do I have all these messages, right? And Big Lloyd will sometimes put messages in there and I don't know why, because he has my cell phone number in it, and I'll look at it and I'll see these from caricature. Can you please tell one woman, I'm not kidding, sent me, can you please tell your son that I am so proud of him and give him an extra large hug from me. I don't know him, but tell him that I'm praying for him. I'm like, this means a lot. When times are tough and people are going through a lot, these are strangers who are just talking in their house and they're showing this compassion. And when I saw how Peyton took to it, I said to my husband, there's something special about this, because the number one thing that I get, and I tell you this all the time, and I am this way, and this is Big Lloyd's mom. She's got a lot of health issues, a lot right now. She's in ICU as we speak. Okay. Who's going to take care of my child when I'm gone? And it's, you have a 25-year-old autistic adult. If they're mid-high functioning, but they don't have a job, they have a 75 to 85% unemployment rate, depending on what numbers you look at. Okay. And it's hard for a lot of parents to work, because who's going to take care of your child if they can't stay home alone? So if you can't afford to have someone come in and take care of them, or there's not, especially in rural or smaller towns, okay, who's going to take care of your child? And a lot of moms need that extra income. So what ends up happening is the parents work shifts. Okay. I think caricature is so amazing because there's stores like Etsy, and Peyton opened his own Etsy store called Team Awesomism, where he's selling this stuff, and the stuff that the money he makes from it is to give back to other autistic adults in autism families to help them start their own caricature and their own small businesses.
Yes.
And and if we can teach these families, they can start these, and if even first they don't want to manage their own Etsy store, they can sell through our Etsy store. That's all just logistics. All of that can be fixed. My husband is a total, logistical guy, and my oldest son is like a walking logistic. This is me. I have great ideas. Now, okay, can somebody tell me how to put it together? I'll cheer you on and I'll run around and I'll sit up 22 hours and, I'll pray for you and I'll worry for you and I'll cry for you, but you need to be organized because I'm not. Okay. My daughter is an eye dot or tea crosser. Okay. And she used to say to me all the time, Mom, please, can you write things down? And my husband kind of gave up on that. Now he's just like, make mental notes, make mental notes. Okay. But you know, this chalk couture, especially think about this, in rural areas where there's not a lot, they don't have to sell to their community. If they, you know, if it's small, they can sell to their community. Okay. Local businesses can hang it up, handmade by, you know, so-and-so, an autistic adult. Go ahead.
And what you're talking about is where we all help in your program to purchase a designer kit. And in this kit, you get a frame and you get some paste and you get a ton of transfers. And as a designer, you get 40% off all your product. So if you have to refurbish stuff, there'll be funds there, or the things that you've made with chalk couture, and it doesn't have to be chalk couture frames.
Right.
It could be a piece of wood you had on the porch that you could put welcome on. It's so easy. And there's a lot of different ideas and programs to look up, and, you know, Peyton's watching YouTube videos on it. And so what I was going to say though is what Peyton's selling is his finalized project, like his art. He's selling his art.
Right.
So I think some people may feel like we would want them to sell stencils and paste and these.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it goes in hand. If you want to purchase a transfer from us, yay. But really what he has in his Etsy store is product already finished.
That's exactly right.
Immediately ready to hang up. I purchased a sign the other day and received it in the mail yesterday. And the no, it wasn't Rise Up. It was, well, you know what, Peyton, my house is decorated in Americana, no matter what, even for Christmas. It's
nice.
Red, white, and blue all the whole time, like 24/7, 365. And so the reason I purchased that one from you is because you used red, yellow, and blue. And I use that yellow also. Actually, I painted my sister painted my cabinets yellow. And so that is so perfect that's why I purchased that one. Because it was like, he made this for my house. So yeah, I loved it. And so just even that, you know, that when you purchase that, Peyton, who is, you know, someone that we all know that Peyton's autistic, but he's willing to help his peer. He's willing to help another autistic man or woman or child to oomph them up and probably get the same feeling that you get, Peyton, when you're making your projects or creating, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
You'd want everyone to feel the way you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is why I think it's so beautiful. They can make something. If their parent wants to sit with them, it's an amazing bonding time. Okay. It spurs their creativity, which we all know that the more creative you are, the less stressed you are. I mean, that's a proven fact. Okay. You can have music in the background. Okay. You, like with me and Peyton, when we talk about complementary colors, you know, analogous colors. You can like work on things like that. There's something very calming and comforting about it while they're working on it. They make something. There is something to show. There's a feeling of, you know, like success, so to speak. You know what I mean? You've accomplished something. There's accomplishment with it. You're learning techniques. You're learning. And like you said, you can take a piece of wood and you're now teaching them to be a small business, have a small business, an entrepreneur. And guess what? They're now fitting in with their peers who are non-autistic adults or their siblings who are non-autistic, and they're doing their own thing. And like I said, there's bonding, there's calmness, there's creativity. It's proven that when they listen to music or they have certain lights on, it's very calming for them. You can do all of that while you're accomplishing something. Then they can sell it in Big Lloyd's mom was really excited about getting involved in it because she said, Lloyd can really help her. It will make Lloyd feel like he's really helping. And all at the same time, it's supplementing their income if they sell things because, Yes, it's not going to solve all the future problems, but guess what it is going to do? Every little bit takes that much stress off. You know,
I think
Robert,
it's gonna solve. I have so much like joy in all of this that I think it is gonna solve the future world's problems. That's what I think.
oh, I agree. Well, you know, Robert Irvine today, I was talking to him on Twitter. We were kind of going back and forth on something. And he said, you know what? Because people were talking about how many restaurants are closing. And that's what he specializes in, is helping restaurants, right? And he said, we're feeding one family at a time, providing food for communities, one community at a time, and we're keeping one restaurant and all of its employees open, one restaurant at a time. And the more that we all commit to that, the better it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And this is why I am so excited about this Team Awesomism project that he has going, and the Etsy store and the Chocature, because I think we can change lives. And you know, parents constantly say to me that are in more rural or smaller areas, there's nothing for my child to do. You know, there's maybe 8 autistic adults, so it's not big enough for them to have a program, right? Well, guess what? We could probably find churches or whatever that would donate their area. They can come together, they can make these Chocature, and you know what? Maybe set up a joint Etsy store. Oh my goodness, I know Peyton, when he gets $20, you know, to me, you know, $20 to him is like $1,000 to me. You know what I mean? And he loves it. And this is what's so amazingly, and like I said, and that's why I told this story about the amount of love that I feel from the Chocature community too, because it's a genuine care. And this will bring in families to feel it. And you know, I called there the other day because typical me, I placed an order and completely screwed it all up and realized it afterwards, right? So I quit call, and of course they get on the phone and they're always so nice. I mean, I swear they are the nicest people when you call. Their customer service awesome. So while she's trying to make sure that she canceled out the order, but was going to send me everything so I could reorder it, you know, because I did it all wrong. We're talking, and I said, this is for my son. He's autistic. She says, I got goosebumps.
Oh,
Thank you for telling me the story, she says.
yeah.
And she proceeds to email me, would you like to submit some designs? She said, this is just beautiful. I was so touched when I got off that phone, because I thought, there they are in Draper, Utah. I'm sitting in the Woodlands, Texas. She doesn't know me from Adam. She proceeds to tell me how much that means to her and how excited she is that an autistic adult is finding himself in this. And I'm telling you, he is. Don't you love it?
Yes, definitely.
And you know, it's cute because I'll come in we have a craft room, and it used to be mine. Now it's kind of, okay. Yeah, see here, yeah. Okay.
Fitness man's office.
It is. That's what it is now. And I'll come in there and he'll have a board laid out and he'll have picked and he puts his colors out. And that's the other thing. You know, here's the other thing with this. And I know this is so silly in a way, and I'm just jabbering on, but he's learning to take responsibility. He cleans it up. He puts it all out. He picks the colors. He has to put everything away. There's a life skill to all of this. You know, it's a practical life skill. I keep saying this over and over, and my husband's going to say, you repeated it 100 times when he listens to this. But Chocature really, and I agree with you, I think this could be such a big difference. And I think this Team Awesomism concept to draw the people in and help. And I want you to talk about what we're going to do, what our idea was, because you came up with the idea.
Okay. So Peyton meets with his church program once a week, right, Peyton, on
Yes.
on Zoom, right? And they chitty chat and pray and read the Bible together and study, and you love that. You think that, and that's a great community. And Lynn was telling me that some autistic families don't have that community. And so they're searching for something with community or something to do with other like-minded people. So of course, we're chatting on the phone for 3 hours. And I said, oh my gosh, I have the best idea. I always start with that. She probably thinks, oh no, here we go again. Oh my gosh, I have the best idea. And she goes, what? And I said, okay. Because I think Lynn sparks ideas in me. Like I feed off of her and then she sparks them in me. And I think, oh, this is no brainer. This is what we're going to do. So my idea is to do this. And we're setting it up actually as we're talking. And Lynn's chatting with, she's already already asked people if it's a yes for them. And everyone's on board that she's asked so far. My idea is because of my giving, just who I am going to send all the people that want to gather with me on Zoom in a community, in the autistic community. And I will send them, I'll ship them to their home, a 3-month supply of projects that we're going to make. And we think we'll go about once a month. And we're thinking like, let's say every 3rd Tuesday we meet. We're just making that day up right now. So don't pencil that in. But if we just meet every 3rd Tuesday, you're going to meet me on Zoom. We're all going to be here together. We're going to have like 50 screens up at the same time. And then everyone's going to work with me on the project. And yes, there'll be other projects in the box to work on later, but I'll make sure that I've held up what they need for the project that we're making that day. And then everyone can ask questions, everyone can talk. And of course, we have President Peyton with us today. And so he can, help me because I'm going to need help with colors. I don't know how to double chalk a tree. I mean, that's awesome. And then I think at one time, if you feel comfortable, Peyton should teach. I think he should be the teacher of a class or 2. You think about that, but I will supply all the supplies and then I'll even give you a picture of what we're going to make. I just think you should teach it.
That would be cool. Wouldn't
Yes,
it?
very.
Yeah.
And then that just gives, I got a thumbs up. So that just gives everyone, if they see Peyton doing it, they're going to be like, oh, well, and Peyton has a few people that he meets together with anyway. And so we're just we're going to grow from there. And if it gets as big as I want it to get, I mean, I may be busy doing that every day. We may have all other, like maybe we'll limit it to so many people in the group and then we'll start a new group and then another group, because I think if you get too many people in, do you think that maybe some things will get lost?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it would be better to set a separate one because otherwise, if there's too many too, then sometimes they'll get nervous to say, I did, what was that and stuff if there's too many, or they'll all talk at the same time and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. And I will talk slow and I will I'm a fast talker, but I'll make sure and introduce everything several times. I didn't say this in my intro, but I am a retired, Lynn knows this, principal and a pre-K through 8th grade teacher. And so I kind of have that, I have that teacher mentality. And so I kind of know how to teach 8 different ages. So I'm excited about it. We're going to start it soon. We're thinking, soon. And I think we should start it like December. And the reason I want to, Lynn, is because maybe the kids, I call you kids, Peyton, because you're so much younger than me.
Yeah.
Maybe they could make something for Christmas. Maybe the first thing we'll make is a Christmas present for somebody, but it's free. It's free to join. I'm sending the box for free to whoever wants a box. And we just need to exchange. I just need to have your address. And then we'll tell you the date and the time, and we'll keep reminding you of the date and time. I'll probably want emails too, don't you think, Lynn? And then
Yes.
I can send out a reminder. And then Peyton, you'll have to help me teach me how to do these Zoom setups. Maybe we'll have a Zoom meeting on how to set up a Zoom meeting.
Oh, Peyton does all of mine. I don't know how to do it. I'd still be sitting here trying to figure it out for today. Peyton does it all.
Okay.
So good.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that will take, and then whatever they create, they can do whatever they want with. They can sell it, they can give it, they can donate it, whatever their heart desires, it's theirs. They made it, they created it. And then we'll just go on from there as to how. So if you are an autistic parent and an autistic family, please get a hold of Lynn, I'm sure you have her email or she's posted it in several spots, to get a hold of her, to get a hold of me. I mean, I don't mind giving my email address out, Lynn, if you want me to. It's up to
Sure.
you.
I mean, I think the more ways that they can reach to us, the better. Mhm.
So it's really easy. It's my name. It's the Karen Conway. So TheKaren and then Conway CONWAY @gmail.com. So the Karen Conway @gmail.com. Really easy.
Yeah, and I mean, and what's so great about this is, again, we're going to be teaching them things. But they'll also have that sense of community because there's going to be other ones on there. And
Yes.
another thing that I want to bring up about Chocolate that I think is so amazing, and this has been something that Peyton has kind of pointed out to me, is he doesn't stress as much if he makes a mistake because it's easy to fix.
Yeah, it's washable.
Right.
You can wash it up and start all over, can't you, Peyton?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
That's easy. And then, oh my gosh, Peyton, I love the gloss you stuck on the frame when you were all done and you knew you loved your artwork and you sprayed your clear sealer over it so it would stay. That is gorgeous.
Thank you.
That gloss, that looks, you put that on perfectly. That was beautiful. I was like, wow, I even get like a shine to, when I opened that package up yesterday, I about peed my pants. So.
I know, didn't he do a good job on that one? He totally picked the colors and everything. I mean, that was
Yep, I did.
And the pan, oh my gosh, it's right there.
Yeah, isn't that pan adorable?
Oh, I love it. It's a treasure. It is my treasure. Yeah.
He sealed the pan too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's harder to see on that because of the way that the shimmer of the pan is, but yeah. And see, and that's what's so great about this, doing these, is that, and it allows them to be creative. Like when he made that bear one, because we love, go get that bear one in a minute.
Oh yeah.
We absolutely love, our favorite restaurant is the Black Bear Diner. Okay, it just came to where we live. It started out on the West Coast by you guys.
Oh.
And we saw it in the people who started the one right here, bless their hearts, they basically did their grand opening and then COVID hit. Yeah. And so, our neighborhood has a Facebook page and people were like, when they were, able to open and do a little bit of stuff and, get a takeout and stuff, people were like, oh my goodness, you guys have got to try this Black Bear Diner. So I said to my husband, let's try it one time, right? Let's just see. Because it's very North Woodsy, which I love, all the black bears, the wood, it's a comfort to me. Okay. And so,
oh, I love this one. I love it. Oh my God.
This is our love to Black Bear Diner. Peyton, this is 3 different stencils that he kind of took pieces off of and put it on there. See?
Yep. And this is Shimmer Shadow.
Yeah, Shimmer Shadow. He did it with.
Peyton, you even know the names of the base. Oh my gosh, I love you. Oh, kid, you're outstanding.
And so we went in there and we just fell in love with this place, right? In love. So I got on Twitter and I said, I love you guys. You're new to our area, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, long story short, they have probably one of the best social media teams in the world. Oh. They respond back to you. So they sent us $20 and said, it's on us. Your next meal is on us.
Dang.
Yeah. And then they give you free stuff for your birthday. They give you a free breakfast. Then if you join their little club, you get a free. And then they had free pancake day that you could get free. So, they do this. And here's what they did. This is why I love them so much. One of the moms on there who's an autism mom, she said, she lives here. Okay. And she said, I need to try this place. They sent her free stuff because she was an autism mom.
Oh, yeah.
I know. So when we were going through all of the stencils, we saw the bear. And I said to Peyton, let's get this. He's like, yeah. It was called the Berry Loved or something.
Yeah.
You are Berry Loved.
Cute. That's so cute.
And so we picked it for that board. Okay. And he did it with the 3 different stencils on there. And we call it, our tribute to Black Bear Diner, because if you go in Black Bear Diner in their restaurant, it looks like, and I'm not exaggerating, one big chalk couture restaurant. Like everything on their walls looks like it's from chalk couture. And that's when I got the idea of, I want to talk to independent restaurant owners or small businesses or doctor's offices or dentist offices or hair salons and say, you want some custom made or you want some really cool artwork, you can put it on your wall. Our team Awesomism will make it for you. And you can we'll even make the plaque for you that says handmade by autistic adults. How awesome is that?
I know. See, I told you we're going to change the world. You guys, this is going to be in every salon in the United States. I want, real quick, you guys, I want to say that the reason Zoom is so clever is because even if you live in Georgia, I live in Washington State, and you guys live in Texas, we can still chitty chat and create stuff together, because we'll be on this Zoom gathering, and I will make sure that you see my hands and see what we're making together. So even if you live, in China, I don't know.
Well, no, it's true. It's true. I mean, I did an autism call, to talk about our life as autism. One of the participants in it lives in Yemen.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a family from Yemen on it. I'm like, I teared up. I'm like, this is really a world changer, and this is why I love this with the chalk couture, because I just think the other thing that I love, keep going back to that. And my husband's like, now don't make it just one big commercial about chalk couture. You're a podcast. But I think one of the things that's so great about chalk couture too is, like you said, it gives you a starter kit. You can add or subtract. And like that one that he did with the bears, okay?
Yeah.
It's 3 different stencils that he made his own look. So it's, there's just so much to do with it.
And then with our little community of gathering funds, we'll have funds for you if you don't, to be able to help you purchase your kit for you or your family their kit, so you guys can create together and figure out what you like to do with your art. And then obviously we're going to have ideas for you and where you can go to put your artwork and things like this too, like Lynn just listed. Another thing, remember, Lynn, is we've decided, Lynn and I, and Peyton, I think you've asked Peyton this, if we could have once a year, and I'll do it, an auction, just an auction like we did for Big Lloyd, to gather funds. And we'll do, I was trying to figure out the same weekend, but my calendar, we have to figure out what day that was, because my calendar didn't track that. And so I have to keep going back. I can't remember if it was March or May. I can't remember, but we'll figure it out, and we'll do it around the same time, right? Mm-hmm. And the same amount of time. And then I'll donate, and we'll do it auction style, and I'll ship it all out. And then the funds that are in there will be strictly for purchasing chalk couture starter kits or anything that a family needs for anything. Just, we want to help. I mean, and I know you guys are on board with this, but want to help out thousands of, if someone needs $10 because they couldn't pay their copay to go to the doctor. Oh, we have that. And I know Lynn's created little pockets of funding as well. And I think this just goes all into it together. And I'm just working under her line, or her name of their name of their
Team Awesomism. Yeah.
Team Awesomism. It's just, I'm just working under it.
Oh, well, like, okay, for Thanksgiving now, I had 3 families that were in really serious need. Okay. And I'm happy to say that I was able to raise enough to give each one of them money to be able to go get not only groceries for Thanksgiving and the week of Thanksgiving, but fill their tanks with gas and have a little bit of breathing room.
Oh, Praise the Lord.
Yep. And this is why I want to do this. And this is, excuse me, what Peyton and I both believe in so much, because to help these, like you just said, I'm trying to say it without crying. There are families out there that have autistic kids. And I don't know how to say this without sounding bad. They're afraid to let anybody know they're really hurting because they don't want the government to step in and say, oh, you can't take care of your child. And I want these people to know that if they are struggling, they can come to us. Yes. And, you know, no judgment. And we're not sitting here taking, you know, $150,000 a year salary so that we can hand out $10 to them. We're doing this to really help them. And one of the goals that Peyton and I and my husband really have, you know, and I've told this story before, and I'll tell it very quickly again, is on Father's Day, Marcus Lemonis, he loves to give away RVs. And part of why he was giving away campers and RVs was to help stimulate the economy, because he owns Camping World, right? And he has to show the profit. And Marcus Lemonis is really an example of walking it, not talking it, okay? Like, you know, he does. And so anyway, how much, you know, so many people were afraid to go stay at a hotel because of COVID, blah, 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 okay? So many small towns, small businesses were going out, people getting out and about in their camper was going to help, because, you know, you're kind of out and about, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. So anyway, he was giving away these campers, and I just flippantly threw a tweet out because he said, tell me why you deserve a camper. We were going through a really rough time at that time because one of my other children was going through a very difficult time, which the whole family was. Okay. It was really hard. Mm-hmm. It was one of the hardest times of my life. Mm-hmm. And I just threw a tweet out there that said, I would love to see my husband get a camper, because I could go on for hours about what an amazing man he is. And when most men run from being an autism father, he ran too. And he's the most amazing stepdad and husband I could ever ask for. Mm-hmm. And I just ignored it then, because, you know, everybody else, you know, Twitter just gets to me after a while, because 90% of Twitter is, I'm an expert on everything and I'm just going to tell you what you don't know. You know, I mean, it just wears on me after a while. And what'd you say, Peyton? Peyton said good grief, because he gets frustrated. And so I just went off of there, and all of a sudden I get on and I have like all these notifications, and I'm thinking, well, who included me in a tweet line now? Yeah. So I kind of start scanning a little bit just to make sure it's nothing important. And I see people saying congratulations. And I'm thinking, oh, good, something happened for somebody, right? Then I see Camping World says, Awesomism, Mom, can you please private message us all your information? I'm like, wait, what? What does Camping World want my private info? Then I see this unbelievably amazing tweet from Marcus. I'm gonna cry when I say it. And it said something like, my wife always tells me it takes a very special person to be married to me. And obviously you found a very special person. Please go make some memories. Ooh. And he gave us a camper. Mm-hmm. It's even got a fireplace in it.
I know. Awesome. Peyton did a little, didn't you do a tour?
Yeah, he did a little tour of it.
Yeah, I think so, because I saw it. You were like, I come in and see this, and then I stalk you, Peyton.
Yeah. And so one of the things we want to do so much with this camper is go out to America and hit up all of these smaller towns and meet up with autism adults in autism families, and teach them about how awesome to start a small business. And if they only want to just make the chocolate, we can show them how, like you said, like when I was talking to Big Lloyd's mom, she's like, you know, we have a really old barn on our property that fell apart. I'm like, take the wood, you know? And we want to spread this around and teach them and get them in our Zoom calls have them be a part of Team Awesomism community and go meet these people, highlight their stories, show them things, and make them a part of a nationwide community. And while we're out there showing this, businesses that say, hey, can you guys, like the lady the other day that did a special order from Peyton for doing a welcome sign for the front door. I placed it on a Woodlands, we have a thing here called Woodlands Online, and I placed one of his pieces on there, and I said, this is my son made this, he's autistic, he's 21, he's doing chalk, couture chalk things. He's trying to help other autistic families earn money by doing this and helping other families so that they can, be a part of a community, blah, blah, blah. She emails me, can I cash app him some money? She says, I want to encourage him. And by the way, can I place a special order?
It's so great.
So I'm like, yes.
Great.
So now she places a special order. She gave him some money because she wants him to know. And imagine if we find 10,000 other people like that, how many families like Lloyd's and Doug, in all of them we can help.
Well, and I was thinking too, like when you were talking about like giving them gas money or like making sure that they have turkey dinner and gas money and some left over. Let's say COVID's all over with and they want to take their children to the movie or they want to, and they just can't, they don't have any extra funds to go out to dinner, or they'd like to they need $10 just to be able to go to drive through at McDonald's or whatever. I want to be able to say, go take them. Just little itty bitty things too, right? Like, yeah, paying responsibilities and helping them out in that aspect, but even just allowing them to enjoy themselves as well.
Completely. Right? It's their happy place.
We all get to, we're not, we're not hurting financially. And why would, if you're not, I'm just plug for the people that are not hurting financially. Why would you not want to just help and give? It's just the right thing. Agree. It's the right thing to do.
Well, and here's the other thing that I was thinking about with this structure when you and I were talking about this and doing this. We're teaching them responsibility, life skills, blah, 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 all the things we discussed. But here's what's so awesome about this. If we give them, let's say they sell something and they make $20, but we give them 50.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
It kind of is almost like they take that responsibility and they've made something and they understand that, it's the old adage of give a person a fish, feed them for a day, teach a person to fish, feed them for a lifetime. We're teaching them life skills and how to be able to be a little more self-sustaining and stuff. When Big Lloyd's mom said to me, I really would like to do that chocolate because that will take some pressure off of us. It's not gonna solve all their problems, but guess what? If it means that she has an extra $100 a month that they can fill up their tank with gas, drive into a big city and go out for dinner and just enjoy, because it's just that little extra. We all need that. We need that for our mental health. We need that for our spiritual health. We need that for our emotional health. And everybody needs that. That's why, like when, somebody made the comment to me when I said, I love that Marcus Lemonis is doing this. And they said, well, he can afford it. I said, that's not the point. Mm-hmm. The point is he's changing lives.
It's not the point that he can, he's willing to.
Exactly.
He's willing to help change lives, instead of just raking it in. And there is scripture that says, when you do it in silence, your rewards are in heaven. But when you do it vocally and out, like I gave this and I gave that. And I get, some people with a lot of funds do that. And it's like, it's kind of unsettling because it does say in scripture, your rewards will not be here in heaven waiting for you. If you've said, blah, 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 I'm this and I'm that, it will be, your reward will be on heaven. And your reward is you boasting about you, right?
Exactly.
And so, yeah, so this to me, for us and for, everyone that's involved in this, oh, it's just so beautiful because it is silent, and it is, we're not going to sit here and say, oh, guess what we gave so-and-so today. I know
Right.
about Lloyd, and the reason we told you about that, and yes, I'll receive my treasures here for saying that about Lloyd, but the reason we wanted to tell you that is because this is how much Chalk and Torque and your guys' program, with that added to it, impacts people and can change lives and can move people into a better situation as far as the community and working side by side, you know, with your child, or dad and son, or mom and son, or mom and daughter, dad and daughter, right? And so
Completely.
they're together and they're working together. I want to say a funny, I know we have like 1 minute, but I want to say this really funny story that you told me, Lynn. So she was looking for Peyton one day and she didn't know where he was. And she's like, Peyton, you know, she's asking where, I've never seen their house. So I don't know how big it is, but he wasn't answering. And so she's like, well, what the heck happened to Peyton? So she goes down into Peyton's, I'm going to call it a businessman's office. She goes down into Peyton's businessman office, and he's sitting on the floor. She takes a picture for me. He's sitting on the floor creating this big, huge, gigantic being of Chakatur. And what's so funny about it is that I really focused in on the picture, Peyton, because you even have your, like, I was telling your mom this, you even have like your inks and your paste, like specifically in order, and specifically, I looked at it to see if that's how you worked. And my paste is even all over me and on, you know, and so I was like, I need to be more like Peyton, clean and organized. But I love that you had all your Chakatur stuff right there and you knew exactly what you're going to use. And then you had a lid, just a lid, and you even placed that down in a spot that you knew that was just the lid. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so, like, look at that. That taught you, you know, appreciation for things that you needed to return to where they needed to go. It's teaching you cleaning up for yourself, because those, if you don't clean those transfers, then they're not going to be usable. So you got to clean them. It's just such a cool, it's so cool. It's just, it can go on and on and on and on and on. And I think you guys, that's what's going to happen. I think
I agree.
You opened the door and it's just flooding back. And I think it's so great, flooding good. You know?
I agree. I completely agree. And and you're right. And he, you know, he said to me the other day, it was kind of hilarious. he was doing a bunch of them. And Peyton is always so serious, you know, when he's telling you things.
He is.
And we were doing inventory, and he was putting, and on our shelves, if you look, now I have to confess, if you look at the video of all of our chalks and inks, you know, we have them on 2 separate shelves. They are all by colors, you know, like the yellows together, then it goes to orange, then to red, then to, you know, purples, then to blues, right? Okay, it goes like, you know, okay, that's not me, that's him, okay? He does this. And he was doing, and he was like, we were doing inventory, we were doing all this stuff. He looks at me and he goes, there's really a lot of work in owning a business. And it just cracked me up. And I said, yeah, but you know, it's a great lesson for him, because I think too often our kids, when they're younger, you know, I want a new car, or can you get me a new, you know, I need a new ski jacket, I need new boots. And they don't always realize that sometimes that the parents, you know, how much you work to do this.
Yes.
And Peyton is realizing by owning this business, you know, he has to pay attention to, like, which chalks are we using a lot of, so we know which ones to order and all this kind of stuff.
He's keeping inventory. It's so terrific.
I know.
And then I just got to feed off of you again, because I always do that, that it is, so the thing that I just realized is it's teaching Peyton and anyone else that wants to learn this, it's teaching him, it's still making his mind work, and he's educating himself still, math and organization, and yeah, it's you're constantly still being stimulated by and growing. You're still constantly being, and you know how you go through school and then you don't decide to go to college and you're going to go work at the mini mart for the rest of your life. Nothing against that at all, ever. I'm just saying you always want to be stimulated. And if that stimulates you, great. I used to tell my kids all the time, just be happy. I don't care if you work at McDonald's, just be happy with what you're doing. And so, or work at the mini mart if that makes you happy. But that in turn, working there or working in different situations keeps you stimulated by people visiting you and chatting with you and working up the computer and all the things you have to remember if you work the drive-through, because that's what I did when I was 16. And so I love that, because Peyton is still educating, but you're educating yourself, which is so cool.
It is. It really is. That's what I'm saying. And that's why too, when we bring these families in, if they say, oh, I don't think my son can do all of that, but I think he'd probably enjoy making, let's just say 2 pieces a month. And it would be nice because it would be time for us to work together. And yes, we'd like to sell those because, really that extra $50 is the difference of us being able to go out as a family, like you said, once a month or once a week or whatever. That's why if we have the Etsy store, we can work the logistics side of it, we can help them sell those pieces.
Yeah. Yes. So great. Mm-hmm.
There's so much to this. And that's why, it's funny you say, excuse me, you said, I stimulate you. You do that with me. In fact, I said to my husband the other day, I was sitting in the chair, I think this was last night or the night before, and I said, I was thinking about our podcast today, and I said, I really need more friends like Karen. Because and he said, yeah. And I said, because you encourage me in so many ways. You help me feed off of you. You feed off of me. You make me a better person, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, every single way. When I come to you like that day when you said, what's wrong, when we were on the phone, and I started to cry and I said, I'm so worried about Big Lloyd, and you said, well, let's solve this. And I always tell this story, and this is the truth. And I remember this so vividly. And this was a lesson I always try to teach my kids. When I was young, if I would come in a room to my dad, and I would just sit and complain about something. I'd be like, I don't like this and that, or, I got a C on my paper and I just don't think it's right. I should have gotten a B, and blah, 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 blah. And I don't like that teacher and everything. My dad would just sit there and look at me, and I'd get so frustrated. And I'd say, why aren't you saying something? And he'd say, because all you want to do is complain. And I'd say, no, I want a B. I don't want that C. And he'd be like, well, I didn't hear one solution in any of this.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to go ahead and throw out some solutions to me, we can discuss which ones can actually be done and how we need to do it. If all you want to do is come in here and complain, then I'm just going to sit here, because obviously you just want to complain and it's not going to solve anything. So I'm not going to spend any of my time trying to solve your problem, because you're not trying to solve your problem.
Right. That's good.
And it used to teach me. And, of course, when I was 15, 16, I'd stomp out of the room and I'd be so mad, how dare he not solve my problem, and, and looking back at it, when I became a parent, I thought he taught me a lesson, because we can all sit and complain, even like with autism families. I see some of them sit on social media. Well, this is hard. That's hard. Okay. Let's find solutions. I may not have all the solutions, but I'm telling you, I think what we're coming up with is going to solve it. And guess what? And the 2 greatest pieces of advice my dad ever gave me, and I live by these every day. Know what you don't know, because when you know what you don't know, you will always reach out to other people, and you will always build a team around you that knows what knows something different than you know. And you'll ask questions, and you will be open to hearing and listening. And the second thing he always taught me was find commonality with everyone you meet, because when you do, you lead with your heart and you work in a team. And, I really believe that. And I believe so much in this team awesomism concept, because as parents come to me, I want desperately to be able to say to them, we can't solve all your problems, but we sure can get you on the path to helping you, because that's all I can do, and what we did, I should say what you did for Big Lloyd.
It was we.
is his mom called me today and said, I need to put a will together.
Oh,
Yeah. Her kidneys were shutting down. She has cirrhosis, non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver. It's a genetic thing in their family. And her liver was so bad, it was shutting down her kidneys. That's why she's in ICU.
Mhm.
And one of the things that she said was, if she goes and him and Robert will have a new home to live in, it makes life less stressful for her.
Yes.
And that night of kindness, of 3.5 hours of you sitting on doing a live
A
auction.
terrible stool that my bum
Yes,
would stay on.
and you fell off. That was the funniest part. And you're
Okay.
like, I'm still here. That was hilarious.
Whoops.
Like, I think the whole camera fell down. Everything fell down. I'm like, all is well. Talk amongst yourselves till I can get up.
It was hilarious. But that's what I want to build on, because who knew at that moment? You know what I mean?
Well, and you know what, Lynn? People, my parents for one, keep asking me how he is. How's his family? So that not only was that through me and you and Peyton, but it also extended way beyond that in my world. You know, my sister asks about him. There's just a lot of people. How did that go? What did you finally end up with? You know, and what did they get? And yeah, so it's even, I mean, I guess we don't know the kindness act that we do and how far it goes. And maybe we don't want to, because then that will be our reward in heaven, right? We maybe get to see that. Maybe we get to watch all the little lights go. I don't know, but how, I mean, what a blessing to know that that just extended way out beyond that one day or that one conversation that you and I had.
I completely agree. And you know, she has called me so many times, and so has Lloyd, thanking me, still thanking me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing that it did that was so beautiful to me is we so often get caught up in our own lives and our own issues and what it is. And that night, so many people came into it and thought so outside of their own circle and their own life to help a family that was a complete stranger.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something so warm, so amazing, so cozy, so awesome about that. And it kind of just sparks you into wanting to help more.
That's what it did for me, is like, okay, how can I continue this? What more can I do to keep this going? And that's how you and I came up with the next programs that we're going to do. I'm so excited about them. But remember too, friend, that it just wasn't Chocatour. People donated stuff to give. Like my sister donated, I think, 5 quilts. She donated 5 quilts. And then I know Lily got one, is an autistic mom. And then she shipped those out by herself to the people that, you know, purchased them or got them through the auction. But there were other things. So that even laid on top of that. Like I was just planning on, you know, donating all my Chocatour stuff, but then my family's like, well, what can we give? Well, what could we donate? And so it just, you know, again, that just keeps growing and continuing.
Yes,
and I think if we know, okay, so this is probably, you know, what I would get a little bit more organized and smarter, but it takes time, right? So I think the next time, and we'll know the dates and stuff earlier, that I will take, you know, just put your auction stuff here or send me pictures so I can post it or whatever. And it would be cool. I'm just coming up with this now. Woo! Is if we did a live auction and a silent auction.
Yes.
Because a live auction, and then a silent auction, and you have to bid through Instagram or you have to bid through whatever, right?
I think that would be beautiful. And you know, I want to say a little story about that with the quilt. Lily bought that for Doug, her son, who's autistic, and it's a comfort quilt for him. So her quilt.
Oh no, yes, my sister's gonna freak.
Yes.
That is such a cool ending to that quilt.
Isn't it?
I remember that Lily, if I can remember right, that was like her last bit of money.
Yes. And she did it for him.
To donate. She wanted to donate to Lloyd's.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
we touch so many lives with this. And that's why I sat there that night. Okay, I'll be honest. Peyton was watching it. I was watching it. I was bawling like the whole time. Okay, like bawling because this was just so beautiful. And your sisters were hilarious. And it was just so amazing. And people were just, I don't know how to say this. I just felt so much love, so much kindness, so much compassion from people on this 3.5 hour, Facebook Live auction.
Yeah.
And it kind of, we were all going through so much with COVID and all of the pain and the hurt in America. And I kept running out and telling my husband, "You're not going to believe this. Somebody just, and we're up to," and he would be like, it was just like amazing. And I sat there that night. It came so late upon me. Lynn, you got to take this. You got to run with this. This is not something you can ignore. And then when this one just started doing chalk couture like crazy, I'm like, there's my answer. Sometimes I really do need to be hit with the 2x4 in the head because, the answers are like dancing in front of me. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do,
Close to your face.
Yes.
You can't see it. You can't see anything that's like this.
Exactly.
Right? And that's why it takes a person outside of that to go, hey, I have a great idea. And then maybe mine's like this. And you're like, well, we could do this with that. And then yours is like this again. Well, we could do this with that. And then, yeah.
Well, one of the ideas that one of my friends came up with, she's been my bestest buddy since we were born. Okay. Like literally we grew up our entire lives together. Okay. This is how in sync we are. This is kind of scary. A few weeks ago, I was really upset about something. And I put out onto social media, I am so angry right now. You know what it is. I'm not going to tell the story, but you know what I told you what I was angry about. She sees it. She sends me a text and says, just ignore so-and-so. I had not mentioned that name to her in like a year, right? So I sent her back and said, please get out of my brain and allow me to think on my own. Okay. Because it's like we are twins attached, our brains. Yeah. Anyway, she does quilts. She has she has a physical issue where it's like CRPS, and she has really hard, it's really difficult for her. Sometimes she can hardly use her hands and stuff.
What is CRPS?
It's basically almost like rheumatoid arthritis, only in some ways it's harder. Like there's times she can only walk with a walker and everything else. Okay, it's very difficult on her. Sometimes she just cannot get out of bed, and she's gone through a lot with it. And she is probably the most athletic person I've ever known in my life. Like she was one of those that in PE class, you didn't want her in your PE class because you were going to get a C because she could do everything and anything, right? Like, triple backflips on the trampoline, like, okay, Terry, really? Okay. Like everything, right? She's so athletic. And so for her to be like this, it's hard around, very hard for her. Anyway, she makes quilts and she does beautiful, right? And she does them like her mom passed away. And so she took a lot of like the fabrics they had in the house and she's making quilts for her family out of them, which is just beautiful. Okay. And it got me thinking because she's always very like wants to help always. It's just her personality, right? She's just kind of that type of person. And I thought, what would be awesome is if we made like baby baskets or comfort baskets where we do some handmade quilts, we chalk couture a pillow, we put a few other items in there from other small businesses, and we make these and it becomes an entire comfort basket, and we can sell them, and the money goes to helping a family in need, or we donate these comfort baskets to families of autistic adults that really need this, because Peyton is lucky. You know, what's the name of the company that gave you that? The chair. Who is that?
Human Touch.
Human Touch. He always remembers everything. I don't. Human Touch gave him, I know. Human Touch, which is a massage chair company out of California, they gave him a massage chair, like one of these $4,000 massage chairs, because they wanted to see if it worked for autistic kids. This has been a lifeline for him. Okay.
I use it nearly every day.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Really relaxes him because he
Is
doesn't
it
like.
when you lay back and your legs go in these? I've been in one once. Oh, yes.
Yes.
And do you do it when you're like a little bit stressed, or you just,
Yeah.
if you're anxious, then you just go and lay in it for a little
Yep.
bit?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, wow. So it feels like you're being hugged and held and,
Yep.
yeah.
And it's got the heat in it, and it's got all these different settings, and it can do your feet and your legs and your head and everything. And so it's really awesome. And
It is.
you know, so he's lucky, and he's got one of those comfort blankets that, you know, the weighted blankets, okay, that somebody gave him because they wanted us to look at it and see what we thought of it. And I thought, how cool would it be if we made really awesome, like somebody handmade some quilts, and we made some chalk couture things that they could hang on their wall that are like encouragement.
Yes.
Just, you know what I mean? Like this could go so big.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Get the little sign.
I want to tell you, I was going to tell you a really funny story about a weighted blanket. So Peyton, I didn't know if you knew this about me, but I'm really an anxious person as well. And I didn't learn that about myself until 4 years ago. And so I've just been, just handling life, kind of like not wondering what, like people would always say like, you're at a 10 and you need to take it down to like a 2.
Oh yeah, I've heard
I
that.
can't have caffeine, because if I have caffeine, I'm like, I'm a lunatic. But so my sister bought me a weighted blanket for Christmas 2 years ago, right? And I was so excited to get it. And she got a 15 pounds. Okay. So I get in my bed and I lay it on my bed, on me. I feel hugged. I feel loved. And so, because my love language is touch, so I need, I have to have touch quite a bit. So anyway, I'm sleeping, and in the middle of the night, I'm waking up with this weighted blanket kind of slipping off. And so then I have to move it back on. Well, in the morning when I woke up after lifting this 15-pound weighted blanket all night, my muscles hurt so and my neck, because I pull it up. So the weight was a little too much for me. Like, I think that I needed a little bit less weight, because I was like, Terry, I think my sister's name is Terry. So I said, we may have got this a little bit heavier than it needs to be. So I was going to try. Yeah, it's the cutest story. I gave it to my brother because it was like, I can't do this. He can't.
Did you see this one that he made?
Yep, I did it.
Oh, I didn't. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, I love the bird.
Isn't that cute?
Yes. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job on that. He just placed everything his own way. And I thought that was really cute. And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, we could do little inspirational messages and, quilts and just, there's so many things. I just think, and I know I'm getting way ahead of myself on all this, but
And
the point is, the sky's the limit with this.
It really is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
We can help so many families. And that's why I love you, because I sit here and, people say to me, Lynn, why do you take on the world's problems? Why do you worry about this? And that drives me crazy when people say that to me. It really does. It bothers me, because it's kind of like, well, I'm glad that at least I know somebody's worrying about other people, but whatever. But I feel like this. We have two choices here. Either I can sit up almost every night and worry and stress and cry and not be able to listen to anything or read anything, because then I'm going to take it all as a personal, cry worrying about, the million of big Lloyds that are out there, or I can start doing something that's going to fix things, and I'm going to get out there, and then that will be encouraging other people, and it just keeps rolling. It's that tiny little pebble that turns into the big boulder of love and help and support and compassion.
Yes, you're being obedient to what your father taught you when you were younger. You're being very obedient to his words. And if someone says that to you, I would just go back to them and say, well, it was taught to me by my father, and then really quickly just give a synopsis of what he taught you. If they say, well, why do you worry about the world's problems? Well, it's not that I worry about the world's problems. It's that I'm trying to come up with a solution.
Right. That's true. Very
and
good.
I'm starting with this right here. And it's blowing up. It's blowing up right behind us. We don't even know. We don't even know how God's stirring it up, just making it bigger and bigger and bigger. Peyton, I told your mom the other day on the phone, we were talking, that I said, I don't think we know how huge this is going to get. Like, this is huge, and I can feel it inside of me. Like, I know it's just going to be like, I mean, if Oprah was still Oprah and doing Oprah, Peyton, I think you'd be on Oprah with your artwork.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Do you know who Oprah Winfrey is?
Yeah. You know who Oprah is.
Yeah, I know who she is.
Yeah, she's the gal that had a talk show. Yeah.
I agree. I completely agree. And I think it's going to be, it also goes back to, if you help someone, I always told my kids, the greatest act of kindness that you do is the one that the other people see, not the other people hear. Because when they see you do it, a lot of people have FOMO, and that's the best. There's nothing greater than when someone copies you, because they're so afraid of missing out on something, of an act of kindness.
Oh, okay. Fear of okay. So fear of missing out, FOMO. FOMO.
Yeah, FOMO. You know what I mean? Because, it's kind of the thing of, excuse me, you know how you always see these old, like, okay, I'll talk about the show Frasier, because I used to love that show. And Frasier and his brother would compete to get a bigger present for his father. And so they each wanted to be the bigger one getting the present. Well, we're going to take it, only we want people to compete on who can help more people. And I don't, you know what I mean?
Yes.
We're
giving more acts of kindness in this.
Yes. Because
we should have a contest.
Yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, I would watch my dad do the littlest acts of kindness for people. And it was just like a part of his nature. It wasn't, like he wanted people, oh, look at you.
Yeah, it was just breathed into him.
Yes, it was. And I would think, I want to do that. I want to do that. And, I see my kids do things like that for other people. Excuse me. And I love, there is no greater, for lack of a better description, applause for me, or, pat on the back for me, than when I see one of my children doing something really amazing for someone else. Because, I mean, they just, when they care about other people, I know I raised them right.
My dad, talking about fathers, my dad's still alive. Is your dad still alive?
No, my dad died when I was 21.
Oh, okay. My dad's still living. He's 79. He's a Sprite one. He told me, oh my gosh, did I just lose my train of thought? I was so, okay, we've gone over my hour. That's what happened. I was so afraid I was going to lose my train of thought on here. Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
We were talking about, oh my goodness. Oh, have mercy on my soul. I don't remember. Does that happen? Like,
excuse me, all the time to me. Can you go get me?
I am just showing you how real.
Right.
Yeah, I'm so real.
That's what I love about my podcast. My podcast is about real. It's about living, You know, it's not all pre-planned out. It's just let's grab a cup of coffee and talk.
We're just talking because we totally have nothing rehearsed at all.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, this is so, I don't remember, Lynn. I'll probably remember an hour from now and go, hey, let's put this.
Yeah, no, that's okay. What we'll do then is we'll put it in a blog and then we'll add it out there.
Yes, yes. All right. Thank you so much for
Thank
me
you.
to be a part of this, because I feel like I'm hanging onto your skirt, and I want to, like the hem of your garment. I want to, like, I just want to hang there. And I love that you're allowing me to do that. I really do. Because I don't know that you would just, for me, let anyone in. And we know
No,
what
I don't.
I know you don't, because we were talking about that this happened to you one time, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just taken aback about what was going on in that. But I knew that you didn't. It's a very small community. I know that, but it's also huge, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a very loved and small community. And you really, if you wanted to be involved in your team, awesome. I'm trying to learn how to say Awesomism correctly. I think it takes there's certain people, that, and I think it is very Lord led. I mean, who would chitty chat on Instagram about whatever, and then here we are on a Zoom call, and I mean, and Peyton is my guy, like my businessman, my partner. Yeah, he's my buddy. I love you, Peyton.
It's totally my inspiration, because, I think one of the greatest things about having Peyton as my child is this. Peyton has taught me that I need to have more patience to let things play out. I tend to be one of those people who wants it to go from this to this immediately. Mm-hmm. And Peyton has more the patience to walk the path. And the other thing that Peyton has taught me is that no act of kindness is too small. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I mean, there are autistic adults out there who are really hurting. Mm. And some of the kindness that has been shown to us is just overwhelming to me sometimes. Like, mm-hmm. I don't know if you know who Tillman Fertitta is. He used to have I always say his last name wrong, so forgive me. But he owns the Houston Rockets here, the basketball team. He's the largest owner of restaurants in the world. And he's a self-made man. And he used to have the show called $1 Billion Buyer, where he would buy from little tiny companies to help them grow for his businesses, because he's a self-made billionaire. He's worth like 3 or 4 billion.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And he lives here in Houston. And so we would watch his show, because I love those shows on CNBC at night, that kind of teach you how to be an entrepreneur and stuff. And so the very first show that he had, he was going to have a group on that made sauces. And my husband and I were one of their very first customers, because they did a little mom and pop thing here in the Woodlands. And we went and we bought stuff from them to help them out. And so he had them on there. And so we watched. And of course I was tweeting, yay, love them, everything, because I'm always a little cheerleader. And he was responding. And anyway, long story short, I fell in love with the show, and I would tweet and tweet. And he was on CNBC one time during the day, and I tweeted to him. And on one of his shows, he talked about something with fish. And I said, my son he realized what the Awesomism meant, because I had in my bio. He must have read it, which bless him. And it said, I said, my son, who's autistic, really loves aquariums. Like, he's obsessed with it. It's one of his favorite things. It's one of his really, truly happy places, right? And we have a major aquarium here in Houston. So anyway, I said to him, oh, can't wait for your show. Great, on CNBC today. He responds to me and says, your son loves aquariums, correct? And I go, yeah. I'm thinking, okay, you're paying attention to this, even if it's somebody that works for him, they're paying attention to this, right? Please follow Landry Seafood. Okay. So I do. They follow me. They private message me. we want to send you and whoever else in your family wants to go a VIP day to the Houston Aquarium. So we go, me and my husband and Peyton and his best buddy up the street, who's also autistic. The four of us go. They literally roll out the red carpet. We have a private person take us around. They make a big deal out of him. We get VIP lunch sitting right next to the big aquarium in the restaurant. Everything is on Tillman. It was a day that memories are made of.
Yes.
Peyton had the time of his life.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got to do that, Peyton?
I was 16 years old when we went there.
Oh, wow.
It was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was so
wow.
fun.
And,
And you remember it.
yeah. And to him, it was just, and I thanked him and he was like, oh, you're welcome, just kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think he really fully to this day understands how amazing that was to us, because he didn't have to do that.
No.
That's why I love Robert Irvine so much, because he will reach out, he will talk to me on Twitter, okay, but he'll private message me to make sure that my family's doing okay.
Oh, yeah. That's
These people, these little tiny acts of kindness mean the world to me and my child.
Yes.
And you know what it does? Honestly, it so inspires me to keep it moving forward and pay it all to other people. Because
moving forward. Yeah.
yes,
I'm your biggest cheerleader. So besides Peyton and your family, I'm in line with that. I'm in their line of cheerleading. Yes.
I feel so strongly about that because my dad, we used to have a giving bank. We all had giving banks, right? And I got them for my kids too, they had the house and the store and the church, right? And, it always said on the little thing, give 10%, right? My dad crossed through the 10% and wrote 30. And yes. And I remember saying to my dad several times, what if I can't give 30? My dad said, it doesn't always have to be in money. It can be in time. And it can be in love. Mm-hmm. And he said, you know what? Sometimes just telling someone you love them or you care about them or wiping their tears when they're crying or giving them a hug is worth $1 million, because people knowing that someone else out there cares. And that's why I try to retweet autistic adults. I try to share their stuff on Instagram. I respond to them, because it may be a minor thing to us, but to people like Lloyd and Matthew Hendricks, who is another autistic adult that we deal a lot with, a like, a retweet, a follow on their YouTube, it's
their world.
It is. And I know it is for Peyton. And that's why when people respond to Peyton, I make a mental note and I think, if that person needs something, I'm there. That person has shown an act of kindness to my son. I've got your back. Mm-hmm. And I will be there for them, because people that give without asking for something in return, to me, are the heroes of this world. Mm. And what you did for Lloyd, I mean, seriously, Karen, I don't know that his mom is going to make it.
I know.
But imagine how much easier it's going to be for her knowing that Lloyd and Robert are going to be able to live in a brand new, beautiful mobile home.
Yeah, they have heat and they have,
Yes.
Yes.
Able to cook and have a washer and dryer and all brand new 2021 appliances.
Yeah. For me to be able to sit in peace with her dying because of Lloyd and Robert, I know it's in God's plan. For some reason, it's all supposed to happen, and all what has taken place already for him and the house and all these things are what was supposed to happen. And so I read something today that said, don't stress out about anything that is I'm not saying this exactly word for word, because if I can remember anything, that would be amazing. But it said that this is the synopsis of this. It said, if you're so angst and worried about something that is supposed to happen or isn't supposed to happen, no matter what, it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. Whether you sat up 24 hours and just wrung your hands about it, or you sat in peace about it, it's going to happen or not going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And that's so true.
So you fussing and fretting, I'm not saying you, Lynn, but I'm saying anyone fussing and fretting about anything that is to come to pass or not coming to pass is going to come to pass or not come to pass. It's just the way it is. But I live by this. Peyton, I know you know this scripture. If you will bless, you shall be blessed.
Yes.
Yes.
And what you sow is what you reap.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you know, it's so true. And you're right. And it's just, you know, so many times things have happened in my life. And at the time I'm like so depressed or so down about it and think, oh, I can't believe I'm in this situation. And then I look back at it 6 months later and say, that was the best thing that ever happened to me because AB followed off of it.
But in the turmoilish mess, I call it hanging on the cross, literally yourself, right?
Right.
You're being nailed to the cross at that time in that junky, yucky, icky. And then when you rise above it and you're in heaven, basically on earth, right? You're taken off the cross for a moment. You see the glory from all the junk. I used to teach my kids this, and I kind of wanted to tattoo it across my right here, but I'm too scared, and that's weird for me. So, but I want to see it. But I used to tell my kids this all the time: out of suffering comes glory.
That's true.
So I told them, you have to be willing to be hung on that cross. You have to be willing to take up Jesus' cross in order to get good out of it. You have to. So you have to be able to go through junk, just junk, but hopefully we can go through junk in peace.
Right.
And it's just Jesus working. It's just Jesus working.
Oh, exactly. You're right.
That's what I'm striving to. I'm really, really, really striving to just sit in peace. Do you know how hard that is for a type A personality?
Oh,
you know. And just, it's like Peyton when he works on his artwork, he literally, to me, he's peace sitting there.
Yeah, he is.
Like you already have the understanding of peace, Peyton. You really do. Like you get it. You know what peace is, and just how you can just be in that space and feel safe there, right?
Yeah.
But if somebody's been raised in angst and junk and abuse and then married in abuse and then married again in abuse and then they found peace, like through Christ, right? They found peace. It's very difficult because you still want to grab at some of that, right? You still want, like, that unsafeness and that unsecureness was comfort. And I'm just going to say it was comfort to me. The junk was comfort because that's all I knew. I only knew abuse. I only knew junk. I only knew trauma.
Same here.
So I married trauma. I married trauma again.
Right, same here.
And then God introduced my husband that I'm married to now, and we met at church. And he was not trauma. He is Peyton. He is peace. He talks peace. He loves the Lord. And he is just this, and he walks in peace, and he, and so when he brought that to me, I didn't get along with him because at first, and I'm like, and he used to say to me all the time, you guys, God put us together. God put us together. And I'm like, I can't stand you. You don't get all flustered about it. Why aren't you jumping up all, and remember, I'm still in the anxious state of my life and didn't figure that out till 4 years ago. And so he's like, whoa, and so when I realized there was one day I realized, you guys, that, wait a minute here. I was on the borderline. I was like, do I want to keep being a slave to this junk, or do I want to be in peace and live in peace and live where there's no fighting and there's no cursing,
Yes.
and we're just always giving the glory to God, right? There's just this comfort about it. Well, I chose this, the comfort, the peace, because it's just, but that's exactly what I'm trying to say to you, Lynn, is that, yes, you were in this, what you were just talking about, and then 6 months later you saw, oh, that's why I had to go through that, or, and that's what I turned around and I thought, how did I ever think that life was okay? That it was
completely.
Okay.
Listen, I am married to peace now too. My husband will say to me, like when I get overly stressed and stuff, he will tell me, honey, shake it off. And not in a bad way.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he has really taught me that getting upset, yelling, getting about things, it's not fixing anything. All it's doing is raising the anger and raising the stress and raising the anxiety. Whereas calmly discussing it, walking through it, we find that. And
yeah.
I've told you this before, and I stand by this. I have girlfriends who say to me, how did you get such an awesome husband? And I say, some of my friends who, are still single came out of abusive marriages, and they'll be like, you're married to such a great guy. I say, because God said to me, okay, you dealt with enough in your first marriage. I'm going to allow you to have this. And the truth is, I think it was more for Peyton, because Mark honestly could not be a better influence and stepfather for Peyton than if I had handpicked, drawn him out, and made him myself. Because his demeanor, his way of approaching life, his thought process, his love. Mark is the epitome of unconditional love. And he has taught Peyton so much. And Peyton loves him, like truly loves Mark. And it is so beautiful for me. And I mean, I told you that story about, do you have to be here? Remember when you and Dan, when we first met him, remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes,
I do.
So
Why are you here? I'm like, excuse me? And I told my older kids, and they all laughed and said, we want to meet Mark, right? Because if Peyton, because Peyton is a very good judge of character. I'm serious. Peyton does not like a lot of people. And you know what? It turns out he's right. And Peyton loves you. I mean, he does. When we were putting your box together, is a little.
My little note.
I know.
Yes.
Was that not the cute? And Mark and him made those little thank you cards, those little ones with his, he designed that logo, that little flame on there. Peyton did that. He designed that.
Yeah, I was using that Adobe Illustrator.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. That's Adobe Illustrator's hard.
Yeah, he made that logo.
You're saying it is hard? It is hard?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but he learned it. He had some classes and he learned it. And he designed that little logo of the logs with the fire, because why he did that was for us to be, spreading the fire, spreading it out there, spreading the heat, helping people, putting it out there, and the camping and taking it. It has a lot of meaning. And and in order to get fire, it's not just one thing. You have to have the logs, you have to, you know what I mean? And this is what he did. He put that together. He totally designed it.
That's so clever. Smarty pants.
Well, I guess we should probably end this, as much as I'm loving this.
See? We got like,
I know. Is this not so us?
Yeah, they're gonna be like, you can't, do not Zoom with Karen Conway anymore.
Yeah, I know.
It takes too long.
My husband's gonna be like, were you guys talking that whole time? I know. But I am so excited about this. And if people are listening to this and they want to get involved, they want to be a part of our Zoom group, reach out. If they want to be a sponsor of it.
Yeah, Karen Conway at gmail.com, or you can,
Yep. Or Lynn at Awesomism Mom or Peyton at teamawesomism.com. And they
then,
can find us.
and you can add 30 hashtags to any Instagram post. You can add 30 hashtags.
Oh,
And
I didn't know 30. Okay.
so you're only allowed 30. So on your 30th hashtag, use, do you guys do Team Awesomism or?
Yes,
just
we do Team Awesomism.
Yes.
do Team Awesomism? Just add it every single time. And it's just something that you'll just constantly, I mean, it's just like a go-to, like you want to add that every single time to whatever you post, every single time, because that will get this out there as well. It'll just expose everything.
Yes,
I
exactly.
started doing it at the beginning of this week, and I've actually acquired more followers, which is very interesting. That's not what I was trying to achieve with that, but what I was trying to achieve is just getting your guys' voice out there. So.
And we love that. And if anybody listening to this knows a small business, has a small business that would love to, work with us about making, items for their store, for their restaurant, for their hair salon, whatever, anything, because, people will come to me and say, I want to get involved. What can I do? And I just want people to know, come to us. Let's figure out a way to work together. And Peyton's Etsy store, because people keep asking me this, Peyton's Etsy store's name is Team Awesomism, and the Awesomism is AWESOMISM. So it's Team Awesomism. You take the E off of awesome and make Awesomism. And it's a team effort, and go check out his Etsy's.
Yes.
And, he just keeps adding to it.
And remember, Peyton is giving him his funds to the autistic community. So
yep, we're going to be helping them. And it's just, there's so much need. And I just want to say this before we get off. So many times people will make comments to me. I've had people, because, I bang this drum constantly, autism, 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 autism. And people will say to me, Lynn, not everybody, has an autistic child or whatever. And I say, no, but the CDC just came out with the numbers, and their numbers are 5.6 million autistic adults, 5.6 million. And that's who have been tested. They say the number's more like 7 to 7.5 million autistic adults in our country alone.
that's astounding.
Yep. Florida, Texas, and California have the highest numbers, and not just because of the population, but they just statistically have very high population. Part of it, I think, with Florida and Texas is because they're less expensive to live in. So a certain amount of autism families will go live there.
I don't have autistic ties.
Yep, exactly.
And I don't have zero autistic ties, and I want to get, I want to move in.
Yeah. And, and if you think about those numbers, and you think about with parents and grandparents and siblings, you're looking at a community of 20 to 35 directly involved in that. That's like 10% of our population, folks.
Wow.
And you think about that, and you think about the parents, like Lloyd's brother now, you think about Lloyd's mom, you think about, my kids, they have an autistic brother. When I'm gone, they'll be taking, you think about this. This is very big, and it is not something, and I keep saying to people, I'm sorry, but I'm not willing to continually kick this can down the road. And when I say this to people, this is the thing that I watch people's faces get the most. I'll say, and people always say to me, well, I understand, because I have a parent who went into a nursing home, because I'll say the number one thing parents worry about is who's going to take care of my child when I'm gone. I'm lucky I have 3 older children. Okay. So Peyton has 3 siblings, but if there's a lot of them that have 1 child or 2 children, and that puts a lot of burden, and people say, well, there's assisted living. If it costs $5,000, a lot of places are more than that, $5,000 a month times 12 months is $60,000 a year. Okay. That's just for that. That's not all their other doctor, all their other things that you have to take into it. Okay. $60,000 a year. If I'm 60 years old, Peyton is 21. If I die at 85, Peyton will only be 46 years old. If he lives till he's 75, that's 30 years. 30 years times 60,000 a year. How many families? Every 10 years is 600,000. That's 1.8 million minimum that I would have to put aside just for Peyton to go live in an assisted living. And how many families can save $1 to $2 to $3 million? They can't.
Mhm.
And that's why every little bit of stress that we can take off of these families, help them, help these, because here's the other thing. I was talking to my small business mentor and he said to me, I said, I wish more of these developers that develop these assisted living would think about this. And he said, okay, Lynn, but they have to, even if they give it at a lower price, they need to still cover their bills. And if they only get disability and it's say $800 a month, how do they cover this? This is part of why, like I sent you that Brookwood Village and that Steps of Texas. What I love about those groups so much, and if people are listening to this podcast, please look up Brookwood Village and Steps Texas, because they're teaching them what we want to teach them to virtually and reach out, and they're actual physical. We want to do virtual incubator and virtual this way, even more so, because if Peyton can go, let's say Peyton goes and lives at a place and it's going to cost, let's say they find $3,000, if he can be making these things and helping cover his cost,
Yeah.
okay, because all these kind of things will help prepare for the future, and it will help parents, and it will teach them life skills and social skills and connectivity. And that's what they do with Brookwood. They sell these things. They have a store, the one that Peyton wanted you to come to, and they make, all these ceramics and stuff. This helps offset their cost of living there. Can you imagine what we can do for these families? And what we can do? And like, we were talking about, imagine if 50 restaurants, some restaurant with 50 of them said, come and do it. That could be the difference for a family being able to actually start a special needs trust. And that's the other thing I want to do, is bring in attorneys into this and help them put money aside. There's so much off of this. And when I tell families these numbers, people look at me and go, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. And I'm like, that's why they say, and this is truth, they say parents of autistic kids have a lot of the same symptoms of PTSD survivors.
Oh, I'm
because
sure.
we constantly stress and worry about our children. And this is kind of mean and selfish of me to say, but I get very frustrated when people, and I had someone do this to me not too long ago. Well, then I worry about my kids. I said to her, I have 3 other kids too. I worry about them too. But Paul, Taya, and Preston can find a way to get through life. Peyton can't get in the car and go drive and go figure out a lot of the things that my older 3 kids can. It's not the same thing. And this is part of my Awesomism, turning autism into awesomism, is to take away some of that anxiety, that stress that we can do for them. And you know what? It's not that autism is awesome. It's we can make our children are awesome. They deserve this.
Yeah.
And these families, the less stress we give to them and have on them, the better their life will be. And every little thing adds up to a big thing. Like, again, I go back to what's going on with Big Lloyd. Look at the game changer that made for that family.
Yeah.
And if he can start making chocolate like he wants to, it may be able to make him and Robert be able to have somebody come in a couple days a week and help them out. Look at the change of things.
Yes.
Nothing is small. It all adds up. And that's why, it's not just about awareness to me. It's about activism. It's about autism activism. It's about autism awareness, yes, and autism acceptance, because the more people accept it, the more they help. And the more they help, the more active they become, and we can make a difference. I go back to what Robert Irvine said. We feed one person, one family, keep one restaurant in, and one community.
Yes. I think that I'm sure we're ending this. It's been 2 hours exactly. But I think what I'd like to say is that take it, this is probably sounds very disrespectful, but wake up and take a stand for something, people. Like, take a stand for something. It doesn't have to be autistic, the autistic community. It could be something totally different, and we don't care what it is, but take a stand for something. I've chosen this because I've fallen in love with this family, and the Lord has led me down this path, and I will follow. I will follow until I'm not supposed to follow anymore. So, but take
Oh,
a
I
stand.
agree. You know, I said the other day on, because I saw these people arguing about everything on social media and everybody just nonstop. And I put out a post the other day that said, imagine if people put half the energy into helping people that are truly emotionally, mentally, physically, financially in need. Just half the energy of the negativity. If they took that negative energy, turned it positive to help somebody
Yes.
mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, how much better the world would be.
Mhm.
And it's true. And that is my biggest drum I beat. And again, I'm not saying people have to get on my autism path, but if you want
Get on a path.
right,
Get
we're
on
here.
for it.
And if you say, come to me and say, Lynn, I just don't think this is my calling, but I want to help somebody, I promise you, I'll hook you up with somebody if you don't know in any world you want, because I will throw that net out there and help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye. We love
Thank
you.
you. Love you. Toodles.
Bye.
Bye.